Even if a clinic has made a mistake, it can change its name at any time. What can you make a competitive advantage out of? You can react quickly to packaging. I've been in clinics with 80 operating rooms. I never told you what I used to do. Clinics started coming to me. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, there's a blogger here. The work that a doctor has done is his, a particular doctor's. The doctor has his own fingerprint. A clinic is a very unstable unit. From clinics to doctors. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video. If you have any questions, you can ask directly in the comments under the video. Within the first hour after the video is released, I actively answer all questions that come in the comments. Why, if I used to be able to recommend clinics, why do I now recommend specific doctors? It is not easy to choose the best or a very good doctor without having specific knowledge and experience. How to search, where to search, how to compare, what should one doctor have, what should the second doctor have, what problems need to be solved in your case, and other questions. Well, that's actually my job. That's what I do. By studying clinics and doctors around the world, I determine what strengths one doctor has, what strong points another doctor has, and why am I shifting my focus from clinics to doctors. As my practice shows, clinics are a very unstable entity. Every person has a fingerprint. You could say that every doctor has a fingerprint of his work, his style, his strengths, for example. He's better at something. And no matter what clinic the doctor works in, he still does the same predictable work with predictable results. At least that's the way it works for me. A doctor can develop, or on the contrary, degrade, if he does not develop himself in any way. But nevertheless, it is the same person. If we consider hair transplant clinics, it is often a very unstable unit. In other words, doctors can be replaced, the quality of work can change, the quality of service can change, the entire staff can change, even the owners and the clinic remains with the same name, while absolutely everything can change in it. And if you think that the main task of the clinic is to make quality hair transplants, then no. The most fundamental task of any clinic is to make money. Of course, this earnings should be based on something, on the experience of doctors, on the results, on the image, and so on. But even if the clinic has made a mistake, it can at any time simply change its name or buy ordered reviews on the internet, or present a lot of old photos before and after, which, for example, are not even relevant at the moment. Or use Photoshop. Imagine, for example, opened a clinic for hair transplantation, created its name, made a lot of very good work, and after 5-10 years, for example, or even a year, all the doctors have changed. But the clinic continues to give out the same work done before and after, because these works belong to the clinic. But will you get the same results after a hair transplant? When you choose a particular doctor, you are choosing a particular person with an imprint of his work style. Those works that he has done, they do not belong to the clinic, but to the doctor. The clinic has its average best results in its portfolio, but it's like the average temperature in a hospital. One has 30 and the other 40. A clinic has a lot of elements. These are doctors, assistants, and marketing departments for whom it is very important to package everything they have in a package that you will be attracted to. And what's inside you can not always immediately figure out, even if you read a lot of reviews about the clinic, which can be written in a year and 10 years ago. And most likely these reviews will already be irrelevant because they can relate to one doctor from the clinic or the second or fifth doctor. And if there are 10 doctors in the clinic and it is not a fact that this doctor is still working there and that you can get at least close results even to that. You know what I'm saying? In today's environment, it seems to me people are gradually moving away from the concept of packaging. Yes, this tinsel and wrapping, and they are more focused on the quality they want. They are not focused on the packaging, but on the actual quality of the product. But it is not always possible to evaluate the product's quality right away, because you have to be experienced and know what to look for and what to compare it with. That's why I travel travel personally to clinics. Yes, you can react quickly to the packaging. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, how cool. Oh, and this is where the blogger got his hair transplant. Oh, look how cool their website is. Oh, look how many diplomas or what cool before and after results and so on. But here's if you even briefly try to analyze it. Reviews can be purchased. Even those that were actually posted, they may have been posted a long time ago, and it's not clear which doctor to refer to. And does that doctor still work there? Marketing is always evolving, regardless of the products and services that it offers you, whether it's hair transplants, liposuction, or selling vacuum cleaners. Marketing has all the same tasks: to package everything correctly, to create those sales funnels, to study your behavioral psychology, to use your needs or pains, to move you down that sales funnel to where the company needs you to go, and the company made money from you. Also, in addition to maximizing profits, the clinic has the task of scaling to get 2-3 times more profit than can be earned, for example, on the work of 1 doctor, on 2 doctors, on 5, on 7, on 10. I've been in clinics that have 80 operating rooms, and considering that you can do 2 hair transplants per day in each room, that's how many hair transplants you can do in 1 clinic per day. And how many photos can there be in a portfolio? This clinic is quite popular in Istanbul. Perhaps I'll do a separate review about this clinic, and you'll see what hair transplant factories look like. This is a real factory. I can't judge them because they do business. As me, I am looking for quality at a reasonable price. Factories are beyond my interest because I can't keep track of what results you can get. Even if this clinic shows me its very best results and I present this clinic to you, I can't understand what we're going to get. Which of the 80 rooms you're going to be in, who's going to be doing what work. It is very important to analyze the situation completely. What do you have? What age? What diseases? What dynamics of hair loss? What donor area? And so on. We always consider all this in my detailed consultation 1-to-1. We then make a plan based on all of these factors. The third point is the modeling of the front line. The front line is very important in a hair transplant. It's something you have to live with for the rest of your life, and your appearance will depend on it. For some, it doesn't matter, but until you regret not thinking about it earlier. The next thing is choosing the right clinic and the right doctor for your specific case. Because clinics are different from each other, just like doctors can be different from each other in their specifics. Some doctors are very good at covering large and huge areas of baldness. Some doctors emphasize the front line specifically and create those unique front lines that are indistinguishable from heads that have never undergone a hair transplant. Some doctors are great at increasing hair density in areas where you have sparse hair. For each individual case, you need to choose the right clinic and the right doctor who will properly implement our plan, and you'll get your unique result. The factory is a fine-tuned business. When I'm focused on a particular person, then I realize that this is the person whose work I've seen myself. This is the person who's going to do the operation. I know how he works, what his team is like, what his approach is, how scrupulous he or she is, what his weaknesses are, which, again, I can prepare you for in advance of the surgery. For example, this doctor is a very good technical performer, but here, for example, you need to prepare the front line in advance because he doesn't know how to draw it, and it's not his strong point. But that doctor has a signature style that will suit you. We can immediately, taking into account the fact that I know what the doctor's weaknesses and strengths are, we can at once prepare you for some moments to get the maximum result, what we can actually do. What do you get from a hair transplant clinic where the staff is constantly changing? But if the staff doesn't even change, how can I understand, for example, who exactly will do the surgery in a particular case if there are 2 or 10 doctors in the clinic? If I can orient you to one or the second doctor, I do so in order to understand what we will get as a result. Another thing I don't like about clinics is that if something happens at the clinic, it's very hard to find who is at fault. The doctor who performed your operation, who opened your canals, and who has his own team. He vouches with his name and he understands that he did it. and in general, by the way. It's also a very cool approach that I sometimes use to look for those doctors who are afraid for their reputation, doctors who are just afraid to do wrong. Yes, not to damage their reputation and image. But how can a doctor who works in a clinic where they often don't even give you a name and you don't know who exactly is working with you be afraid and worried? What is the doctor's name? Such a doctor is not responsible for anything. He basically has no risks. That is, if he even disfigured you, you will have a claim to the clinic, not to the doctor. So such doctors have nothing to lose. They're practicing on you. The doctor is protected. The clinic is protected. They also often have lawyers on staff, and you don't even have to take the problem to any legal action. The clinic may offer to give you a second free hair transplant, for example, and thus mitigate the conflict. But you will lose a very important point. The first hair transplant is the most important. That is, it is better to make immediately a good transplant first than then suffer with corrections all your life. And it's not always possible. The donor potential is always as limited as it is. So yes, the clinic can smooth things out. In some cases, the clinic can even give you your money back, and you might even be happy at the beginning. But you have already lost the most important thing, time and what could have been built with that donor intact material you had. That's it. That's gone. If the first hair transplant was bad, everything else is just a matter of tweaking and trying to make things better somehow. The clinic will always look to smooth out any irregularities, but if even this does not work out, and the clinic has a lot of negative feedback in the absence of competition, the clinic can continue to function, as for example it happens in Russia, from lack of choice. That's what happened with some of the clinics that I examined. There are some just horrible doctors and horrible hair transplants in general. I don't know how you can call them doctors who just ruin people's lives and aesthetic appearance. But they keep doing it because some people don't have a choice. Some can't travel to another country for surgery. Somebody doesn't know how to research clinics properly. Some can't do even basic analytics on their own. I remind you that I have a service of analyzing clinics by request. That is, if you have a clinic that is recommended to you by friends, for example, or if you have found it yourself, I can analyze it. Here, first of all, I rely on my knowledge and experience. I have something to compare with. I can evaluate the quality of the clinic according to various criteria. Let me remind you that I have already analyzed and visited about 100 doctors and clinics around the world. Sometimes I analyze new clinics that I did not know about, and I also mark them for myself. Sometimes there are very interesting results, and I learn about some of these clinics just from this service of mine, which is a clinic checker on request. And if it is an interesting clinic or doctor, then I make a note and then fly to Turkey or Argentina, for example, to check this clinic. So there are doctors who, in the absence of competition, continue to do terrible work. But in a competitive environment, accordingly, the clinic must do something if it has a lot of negative reviews and a lot of problems. What can they do? Change the name of the clinic. The clinic already has experience in marketing and promoting their services. There is some kind of established client base. There are consultants. So to make a new company, or a company with a new name, the name of a new clinic, there is no difficulty at all. That is, in fact, many companies do this. It's just a new name, a new clinic, and take the existing work that does not belong to them, but to some doctors who worked many years ago. And you see again a new clinic with a cool price, marketing, and so on. But what actually belongs to them, what their history is, you won't know it yourself until you start digging for information. And you need to know how to dig and where to dig. And when you choose a doctor, the doctor has his own face, has his own name, has his own work. A doctor can't change his name. A doctor can set up a clinic. That's the same thing with the different hair transplant academies where you think academicians work. But in reality, it's a place where trainees are practicing on you. Often these businessmen have several clinics with different names, and for a reason. Speaking of which, I've started to be approached by clinics to criticize them and do some outside analytics. So finally, clinics are starting to realize the benefit of critique. There's nothing better than expert criticism from the outside. I never actually told you what I used to do. I used to analyze different global companies. They involved me as someone who, from the outside, can evaluate from a client's perspective and someone who understands business and business structures around the world to find out the strengths and weaknesses, where something can be adjusted that you can develop some kind of competitive advantage. If you are interested in what I used to do, write in the comments and I will tell you more about it. I think after this you will understand why it is not so difficult for me to analyze clinics. So I already have a foundation of analysis. Now I have knowledge on hair transplantation. I have a lot of experience and vision of clinics. What are the hair transplant clinics in different parts of the world, to compare them and understand what to make a competitive advantage out of. Analytics and analysis of the clinics from the outside for the clinics themselves. In this way, I can develop the clinics to make them better for you so that you get the best results, and seek out those clinics that are developing, not just luring you in with primitive Instagram marketing, but clinics that are bringing in outside analytics and trying to develop. Those sides where they are, let's say, underdeveloped, can be improved. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and remember that by doing so, you help the channel to develop. And again, tell YouTube what you like, what kind of content you are interested in, and offer you exactly those videos that you deserve and that you are interested in. Through your comments, I will also find out what you are most interested in. I have a huge amount of material already. I just don't have enough time to edit videos, but gradually I will release more videos about clinics and doctors. I will tell you more about what is often hidden behind office doors. I don't work for the clinics. I pay for all study costs myself. Your subscriptions are important, as is any support for the channel. I am not from Russia, but my main channel is in the Russian language. Some videos from there I will also translate and present to you on this English-speaking channel. Thank you for supporting the channel, the fastest way to hair and self-confidence. See you in the next episode.